video, I'm going to go over the best of Rise crossover starter guide. Before we go and do that, would you guys like to have a chance to go ahead and win a free Game Pass? All you need to do is drop a like and subscribe to the channel and comment your Roblox username down below. I go in multiple Game Passes every week. Anyway guys, without further ado, let's get on with the video. So it's been around just over 2 weeks since I last went ahead and made a guide on this game, and there's been about 4, maybe even 5 updates since then. I mean 2, maybe even 3 of them were smaller updates, but there has still been a lot of new content added into the game. And yeah, there is lots of new things I'm going to cover in this video. I'm literally going to teach you guys how either to go from a complete noob in this game to a pro in the game, or let's say you're in the mid part of the game, how to improve, and even some tips some of you pro players may not even know. And I'm going to try and make sure I cover everything. I'm not going to go into too much detail about some things, just so I don't want to waste your guys' time too much. And I'm just trying to give my best example of like everything I can while trying to go at a decent pace, so this video isn't 40 minutes long. If you would like me to at some point make like a super long tutorial, please tell me down below in the comment section. Anyway, the first thing we'll go over, and it's one of the most recent things, added one of the most recent updates in the game, and that's the whole leveling mechanic. And that leveling mechanic is quite important, and I will go into ways you can incorporate this into things later on in the video. As you see right now, I'm only level 2. I honestly really haven't grinded my level too much, but if you are trying to progress the game and you do want to become one of the better people in the game, I've said not at all any spare time lately, you really need to start trying to grind your level up, especially the earlier levels. Like, they are so much easier to do, and it is progressively harder to go ahead and grind up levels, and you get the same amount of like rewards for basically going up levels, so you might as well grind it for the earlier ones at least, and then later on I suppose it just get a bit harder, so you can take a break. But how you actually grind up your level to begin with is you go ahead and do dungeons. You'll also know when a dungeon spawns nowadays, because it'll go ahead and pop up with like a massive beacon in the air, and you can just check the chat where it's when it spawns, so it'll tell you the island. You make your way over to the island, or right now you can just see there is a big beam over there in Face Hill. You want to make your way over to the big beam, and then you can go ahead and do the dungeons. Now you get a different amount of XP depending on what the rank of the dungeon is, and I do not believe it's actually based on where the dungeon is located, so you need to make sure you are doing the higher ranked dungeons if you can do it. Of course, you are new to the game, this doesn't really matter too much, but I would definitely recommend no matter what point in the game you do a lot of dungeons. The only thing is, if you're in the later stage of the game and you're already a decent high level, you don't need to really worry about the low level dungeons. They're not going to give you at all that much XP. Also remember, you can go ahead and do dungeons multiple times to go ahead and get extra clears. That's whether you're a new player or an old player, it's something everyone can do. It will just have a little bit of a gem requirement, but trust me, if you're strong enough to do that dungeon in that area, you'll definitely be able to afford the gem requirement. Also, when you are going ahead and creating a dungeon, consider going ahead and using runes. There's a bunch of different runes. You can even use rank up runes to increase the rank of the dungeon, so you'll actually be rewarded as if this is an A rank dungeon, because I'm using a rank up rune on it, and it'll only put one of these in, but basically, yeah, it'll make it an A rank, so you get even more XP from doing that. But now let's try and go ahead for the rest of the video. I want to try and keep in a bit of an order. It's gonna be a little bit scattered, but anyway, so you're gonna start off the game. You're basically gonna have like nothing on you, and now the first thing you need to do is you'll need to like kind of start grinding in the game. So you have to start beating the NPCs and waiting for a dungeon to appear in the area that you're in. Now, completely depending on what stage of the game for everyone, there'll be different dungeons, different areas. Whenever you're in, so let's say you're in Leveling City, you can only really do Leveling City dungeons because you won't be good enough to do the Grass Village ones, as they're stronger than the normal NPCs in Grass Village. But if, for example, you're in Face Hill, you can do the Face Hill ones, you do the Brum ones, Grass Village ones, and the Leveling City ones to go ahead and get the NPCs. Most of the normal NPCs and lower level dungeons won't be good. Of course, though, the bosses will always be better than a lot of stuff, especially if you manage it in the higher ranks. And then the next thing we're going to go on to is the merging machine, which honestly, the merging machine nowadays isn't really super useful. I think this will be quite useful to you if you're an earlier player in the game, but if you are actually getting to like the late parts of the game, this machine is just not that good. It will not actually really help you too much progressing, as there is a bunch of better ways to get things. Now, when you do a little bit of a jump, and this is when you've actually started progressing in the game, and you're getting to some of the later areas. At the start, it's a very simple format you follow. I'm just going to say this, and I will try and go into the later parts of the game. But at the very start of the game, you do dungeon in your area, you keep doing dungeons in your area, keep trying to get the bosses, or if you're doing stuff like in the higher areas in Grass Village or Brum, probably in Brum I'd recommend trying like the light admirals, and then you can use these to go and use shadow upgrade to get SS units, and then move on to the next dungeon. You kind of just have to keep on doing that until you made your way over to Lucky Kingdom, and Lucky Kingdom meta kind of changes. So for the first 4, maybe even actually, yeah, first 4 areas, it's completely based on shadows, merging them up. As soon as you get to Lucky Kingdom, you just go grind the best NPC there, get cash, buy a better weapon, and keep on just repeating that until you get all the way to XZ City, because it is weapons for the last 5, and honestly, weapons is a lot easier because you just AFK in a boss for a few hours, or some lower level units in the area, then just keep beating the boss, buy a better weapon, and keep the process just repeating and repeating, as that's the main way to progress through the game in that sense. But if you do want to get a stronger team, you are needing to get some better stuff, so by the time you are at Lucky Kingdom, you'll definitely at least be an S rank player, or at least good enough to get S rank players, you want to go into the Inferno Castle, which spawns here every 45 minutes. And actually, while we wait for it to spawn, I'll actually go show you guys how you do rank in the game. Now, ranks are really important as they do provide a bunch of different things. So they can help increase the max level of your shadows, which basically just shadows them do even more damage. And although shadows, as you do progress through the game, don't become as useful as weapons, they still will be an extra bit of damage, and it's very passive. Weapons are, so shadows are, so it makes it a lot easier to progress purely just off shadow damage. So you can do that grind up there. It also increases like just overall stats, so it's 100% worth grinding up your rank. Currently the highest rank is M+, and if you're in the best area, even if you have the worst weapon there, or maybe as long as you've got a good like trait on it or enchant, you'll actually be able to do pretty decent. But a lot of the stuff you will realize isn't leveling city that you need to use just to actually progress through the game. So the best place usually to say spawn is leveling city, unless you're in a dungeon area, which I'd always recommend going ahead and doing the dungeon, like save spawn at an area if you're in a dungeon. There is also some other stuff that you can really do that is going to help you like jump through progressing through the game. And as joining a good guild, it'll increase your shadows, it'll just make everything a little bit easier to people you play with, people you use the AFK bosses with. Joining a guild, for example, my guild right now, it's definitely in no way one of the best guilds in the game. We have like so much lower stats than other guilds, but we're still getting some pretty chunky boosts, such as this level 52, which is quite nice there. We're also getting shadow range, and I'm getting 2 extra shadow slots just from going ahead and being in my own guild, so that's quite helpful. More shadows, more damage. Anyway, that's just one of the few things you do to progress. Some other stuff I definitely recommend is if you do get a chance to AFK the game just with an auto clicker and AFK on the best boss in the area you're in, and this is for the brutes. You also want to only do this when you're at Lucky Kingdom and above. If you do this any of these other areas before, these areas are pure just shadow and dungeons. So first of all, it's shadow and dungeons. It's weapons after this. You need to make sure you grind up the best boss in the area to get a ton of cash and just keep buying the best weapon. Go over to the enchants machine and make sure you upgrade it to the best one. You use auto upgrade it to make your job like 10 times easier. Let's just do the saber right now, and it should, if I've got some other spare sabers, it'll auto upgrade them. And yep, there it did. It upgraded 2 different sabers there. So you can just keep doing that to upgrade, but then get a good enchant. If you don't know what enchants give you like a crazy stupid damage buff on weapons, let's find something with no enchant. This has got no enchant. It's doing 14 QA. We get an enchant on it. As soon as we get sharpness, you'll notice that like jump a crazy amount. Boom, and we still don't have sharpness there. Wait, where is sharpness hiding? Okay, let's do it a few times. Usually get sharpness quite easy. Even sharpness 1's a boost there, but I want to something higher than sharpness 1. Sharpness 5, okay, that takes the 12. 261, so we literally times damage by 5, which is very, very helpful. And now just seeing the Inferno Castle has appeared. Inferno Castle is recommend S rank and above hunters, and I would definitely recommend doing this. The best strat if you want to make your time optimized as possible when doing Inferno Castle, do your best to grind up to floor 25, and then you can just go ahead and load into floor 25. And now this is one of the best methods if you are just trying to get some really OP stuff, and you want to be going for the one boss in this. You actually, depending on how strong you are, you can do the next 5 floors for minimal effort as well. You can give this floor 25 boss the chance to rise up, and you can also give the chance to rise the floor 30 boss. You do technically have to do the floor 1 to begin with. I'm not really sure why that is. You just have to do it one time. After that, though, you can kind of just jump, and I don't know why I'm doing no damage. That could be 100% because we have no weapon equipped. So make sure we have a weapon equipped, as trust me, it'll help out a lot. Let's get S rank weapon equipped there, maybe just had a skin on, and then we can go do the boss. And basically you want to just kind of literally run to this boss. This is what you want to do the boss, and then you can do the next 5 floors as well if you want. If you're not planning on doing that, you don't want to spend the time on it, do the boss there. It'll be really easy to get, and if you do manage to rise this, it'll be an S rank, which is quite nice there. And I think he has a chance of being a G rank, so definitely go and play. And after that, you just press leave, and then you either spend, I think, some tickets going to redo the game mode, or you just leave it as that, and you've went ahead and done what you needed to do. So now you're at the stage, we've got a good weapon, and let's say you're in the later areas, preferably you're in the last area, because basically just rinse and repeat the same strategy for these last areas grinding. You don't need to really do like dungeons at all. But let's say you are going ahead and doing some dungeons in the spare time, or you have managed to throw some dungeons. You not only would have managed to get your level up yourself a ton, so I would only really recommend when you are grinding up weapons to only really do the higher rank dungeons, because you just at the start you'll do all the lower rank ones, and just the XP you'll get from them will be kind of low. So I'd definitely recommend only doing the high rank ones, and if you can throw some shadow power, weapon mastery, or player speed, they're the ones I'll probably rotate depending on what's stronger for you, weapon mastery or shadow power. I've only got 4 levels, so it doesn't really matter too much, but hey, the shadow boost is quite a lot. So having a good team of shadows, that'll make that damage a lot higher than other stuff for other players. Then after you've went in and grinded up for a bit, you can use some things to help you progress the game. If you are trying to get some high damage, you've got stuff like shadow potions, and they are just quite nice to have. Don't really need them too much, so don't focus too much on it. You get runes as well, just from beating dungeons. Relics are really useful, so when you're beating dungeons, and I believe you can from any dungeon, you have a chance of dropping a relic. Unlike a rune, which can only be found in B rank and above dungeons, relics can have some really cool boosts. This one's giving me election at 11.38 shadow levels. No cloud 38 levels works, but either way, that's quite a big boost to my damage. There's a bunch of different ones, so I'd 100% recommend trying to go ahead, or equipping them. You'll probably help them progressing through the game. And if you are following this guide correctly, and at least you're reading between the lines, or at least you're using some braid cells, you're doing some dungeons, you've grinded up in the game, you're doing the brutes that everybody else is doing, you don't really need to join a guild to do it, but hey, it's extra damage to join a guild. You'll have farmed up quite a bit, and you're doing dungeons whenever they spawn at higher rank. You can join their Discord just to see whenever a good dungeon appears. Boom, that NPC like instantly just got destroyed, and we instantly got rewarded for it. That was actually way too fast there. But hey, let's say you're doing that, you would have definitely managed to acquire quite a few tickets from the bosses in the dungeons. And hey, like I said, if it's a good dungeon you're doing, you may have a chance to go ahead and get the boss from it. The only time limit to the SS dungeons is most likely the last areas, just because of how hard they are. But with some tickets, you can buy a lot of different things. There's some game passes you can buy. Most likely, I would recommend buying some of these game passes earlier. If you want one that's really good at 2 times cash, so cheap, it's going to be so useful to you later in the game. Definitely recommend getting that at some point. Extra equip is quite useful. Auto attack is really useful. So probably for auto attack your first game pass, so your first 4 areas. Then you want to go for 2 times cash, and honestly everything else is more just quality of life. But these two are like so useful to understand. Extra equip as well is supposed to get extra shadow damage in. And then for now, just kind of do whatever order you want. You can get some potion bundles if you want, probably recommend it. Powder dust bundles aren't too bad value. But if you are just trying to get a bunch of powder dust and you're also trying to get a good amount in the game, use the AFK area, because the AFK area can use some really good stuff for minimal effort. So just AFK in the AFK area, you have a chance of going ahead and getting a bunch of rare powder dust. So it's such an easy way to get it, and it's passive. You get some potions as well. You get the baby dragon mount, which is currently the fastest mount, one of the fastest mounts in the game. You get some skins, completely irrelevant. You also get Giant Whistle, which actually will be quite useful to you as far as shadows go. You can do that. If you're wondering what the best mounts are to try and get in the game, it's changed a lot from what people, what the past was like. And basically the past, you basically hop around different islands, and you put like perfect settings on. So you get like basically island aimbot, and you can see through the different islands to see the mount spawns. Now that doesn't really work as a method, and the best ones to ever go for are from whatever is recently appearing in the AFK area, or you can just go ahead and buy the current bundle. So I believe the current bundle is the best mounts in. Now, don't really need this bundle, and the AFK ones are pretty good. I can't show the bundle myself. It's the Drake bundle. If I think I go to gift someone, it pops up for what I've seen before, and this person actually has the bundle. Let's try this person. Okay, Drake bundle, there it is right now. Drake bundle, really useful. You don't have to buy it with Robux, you can buy it with tickets. Honestly, I wouldn't buy it with tickets or Robux, because you don't need it. It's just a quality of life thing, and make it a little bit easier for you to move around the map to get to different dungeons, to get multiple chances to go clear them. But if you are getting that, you're going to get the purple Elder Dragon, which is fastest ground mount. You're going to go ahead and obtain the purple baby, which is the fastest flying mount. And then also, if you're just trying to get like a good boat mount, honestly, just buy the striker. The striker is the best one in my opinion by far. There was a coffin boat that was out for a long time, but you don't really need it. You can just go to any boat dealership, I believe, in Lucky Kingdom or above. So it'd be any of these, and yeah, you just have to buy it. It's really cheap. You need one of it. I'm pretty sure it lets you buy like 100 of it. Anyway, though, I've really tried to get this video down as much as possible, and it's still been about 30-minute videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry if there isn't some areas I haven't covered the amount you want. You feel free to check the channel though, so I'll probably do a video covering it. And on the very off chance I don't, tell me down below in the comment section, and I'll make a video covering it for you guys. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you on the next one. Also, like, watch this video if you want. I don't know. You can watch it if you want. See you guys. Bye.